Alright, welcome back everybody. Alright, let's see, where were we? This is Pokemon Crystal. This is probably going to be another grinding session if I'm honest, since, look at my levels here. And I'm pretty sure Whitney has, level, 22, 24? Her Maltank might even be 96. I know I might be overestimating that, but I don't know. So, grinding. Which means, if you want to skip this for plot reasons, you can probably go ahead. I'm going to be talking about fandom stuff mostly. Because today has been... today's been a decent day. Not terrible. But the whole second half of today, it's a Saturday, and I have been hanging out. I got my, I got most of the chores for, that I need to go out and do something done in the morning. So, now I am back. I have been back home for a good number of hours, and I have been diving deep into fandom territory. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. So, I've finished 2 TV well, no, not finished. Okay, so, fandom-wise, I finally went back and watched the final season of She-Ra. I watched the first, 3... Are there 4 seasons? I think there are 4 seasons. So I watched the first 3 seasons with a friend for a podcast of theirs, which, was fun, but it... I shouldn't have done that. But it meant I shotgunned it. I watched them all at once, and there were a couple of things that I was like, but it got consistently better. Season 1 had a rocky start. There were a couple of things in the first 1 or 2 episodes that nearly made me stop watching. Or if I had not been watching it for a specific reason, then I might have stopped watching. Because, there's one point where they forget to animate her sword. She has her sword on her back, and then it's not on her back in the next scene, and then in another scene, she pulls it out as if it's been on her back the whole time, and I was like, and also there were some, cheap, background tricks done, but it got consistently better. The animation got really so much better over the course of the season, and over the course of those 2 seasons, by the end of season 3, which was all that there was at the time, I was so into it, because then, okay, spoiler territory, if you have not seen She-Ra, I'm going to go into spoiler territory. This is the new She-Ra, not the classic stuff. I never saw the classic stuff. Yeah. So, you have been warned. Skip ahead. I'm not gonna tell you a timestamp because I don't know when I will stop ranting. But you can skip this whole video. Anyway, you have been warned. So, at the end of season 3, Catra and Glimmer are stuck on, the Horde Prime ship, Hordak Prime, and I was all, in theories and going, okay, are they going to immediately because I've seen so many shows that just, they set something up and it could be really interesting and then they immediately retcon it, and I think they did a good job in season 4. They did, have a whole arc to go and get Glimmer and Catra back, but it took a whole half of the season, and it did a great job of separating out our main cast But it also gave some really good highlights as to what was happening back on, back home, and all the other princesses, and how they were handling either being in charge in the case of Mermista, or Natasa and Spinnerella, like, their whole dynamic, which was so background at the beginning, and then in this final season, it gets a whole arc on its own, and they are happy, like, they're fighting for each other, they're clearly in love, and the like, angst had nothing to do with their relationship. I'm so happy with that. And the ongoing theme of, we're not going to hurt our friends, but we have, like, we are trying to hurt our friends, and we have to hurt our friends, but we don't want to hurt our friends, and trusting in love, and how consistently one character after another fought through the mind control to come back with these little flashes showing, yes, I'm in here. Yes, you can keep fighting. It is making a difference. Even if, like, the final solution, I mean, they did have to get rid of the chips, but, oh, it was very well done. It was like, mwah, chef's kiss. I loved it. I'm so glad I finally went back and watched it, because I didn't have a reason to go back and watch this final season like I did the first bunch of them. So, like, it had just been sitting in my queue, and I'd been, like, for the past several months, I've just been living on YouTube, just like, yeah, sure, show me whatever's next, I don't even care. Which is fine. There are some great people on YouTube. Hell, this video is going up on YouTube. But it does not, like, you don't get the quality storytelling arcs are very rare. Granted, there are some people on YouTube who do great storytelling arcs, who put out entire, like, the person I'm thinking of is Linkara and Atop the Fourth Wall. If you like comic books, or even if you don't like comic books, but you're, like, interested in comic books maybe, and also, just, he does some great overarching story plot lines. It's the kind of thing that, like, that's another thing I've done over the course of the summer, is go back and catch up, because he has whole huge plotline arcs that tie into little one-off gags that he pulls, and then every Halloween he does a Halloween arc for the whole like span of October. So, like, oh, it's just, I love his stuff. Oh, let's not have Jelly die. Oh. Is Jelly gonna kill this thing when it's... Great job, Jelly. Great job. Oh. So, yeah, Linkara is definitely someone to check out if you like, both if you like comic books, because that's his gimmick, sort of. That's his thing, his niche, I should say, is he reviews bad comic books, or sometimes decent comic books, but his tagline is Atop the Fourth Wall where bad comics burn, and he's fantastic. And if you're even tangentially connected to that world, you should go check him out. But anyway, I have been like, so I was watching She-Ra, and I finished that, and then for a while I was just like, oh, what should I watch next? Because that was like earlier in this week, and then, but my mind's been staying with it, and you know, that is a good thing when you've watched a show and then you stick with it. And I know that there's the He-Man show on Netflix too, and I'm like, it's only got a few episodes, so I should watch it. but I haven't watched it yet because okay, so I had picked up something that I had put down ages ago. So I decided to do the same thing. And today I have been watching Castlevania. So my backstory with Castlevania is about, I don't know, 6 months ago, whenever the final season had come out on Netflix, I have a pair of friends who were really into it, and they were watching it, and I was over at their place at one point, and I was like, oh, this is, yeah, sure, put it on. We're just eating pizza. And it was so good. And, like, okay, the animation style. I always, like, it's not that I have an eye for animation styles, it's that I have watched so much animation, I have an instinctive eye for what is good or what is lazy. And the Castlevania animation, and I didn't realize it at the time, because, okay, watching something, an episode that might have been the final episode. I did not know any of the characters. I knew that Dracula was dead, and they were trying to resurrect Dracula, because everybody was talking about trying to resurrect Dracula, and I'm like, okay, I guess he's dead then. And so I don't know any of these characters. I don't know what they're doing. I know that a couple of them are vampires. I know that a couple of them are not vampires. I know that there are other non-vampire monsters just running around and flying, and everybody seems to have an army, and there were moments. There were a couple of close-in one-on-one fights where I was just like, oh, that is smooth. That is single malt whiskey on the rocks smooth. That is, like, every frame just elegantly flowing one into the next, and snap, like, everything drawing up to a point so that during the fight scenes, everything, like, looked gorgeous, and it looked smooth. I keep coming back to that, but that was my first impression. Except that was in a fight between, was it between two vampires? One of them was the lady with the red and black dress, who I now know is a major antagonist, but at the time I did not know who the hell she was. So she was one of the main characters, and then I can't remember who she was fighting. She was fighting somebody else, somebody who was also really good. And there was a disconnect between the animation when they were fighting and when they weren't fighting. When they weren't fighting, it looked choppier. It looked like, okay, there's an animation term called printing on twos or something like that. Because, okay, animation, the human eye can only take in so many frames per second. And it's something like, okay, 28 frames per second is what standard animation rules is, but then there's something called printing on twos, which means you only do 14 instead of 28. And it means that the animation is a little bit choppier, but the human eye isn't quite fast enough to tell. Like, if you see something that's printed on ones rather than printed on twos, you can tell. But if you're only looking at something that is straight up printed, oh, acid, that's nice. Still not a water move, jelly, but still nice. Yeah, if you look at something that is only printed on twos, you can't really tell because your eye gets used to it. So what I thought they were doing was printing the battle scenes on 1s and printing the rest of it on 2s just to save time. And I don't think that's what they're doing. So I just finished season 2? I think it was season 2. Okay, so spoilers for Castlevania. If you haven't seen that, this is another one. Go watch it. Absolutely beautiful animation, a little bit gory. I will say that. There's a lot of blood because it's a show about vampires. Some body horror, both because people get stabbed a lot and because they mutilate corpses in order to turn them into monsters. So that's a thing. So there's your warnings for Castlevania. Also, the main character, he is not introduced in a good light. Belmont, Trevor Belmont. He's a lovable goofball, but he's in the dark place when the first season starts. He is off at a random tavern, hears about a bunch of monsters, like, I'm not gonna deal with that. I'm gonna get drunk. I'm already drunk. I'm now not as drunk as I want to be. Barkeep, can I get another drink? And then he gets into a bar fight and he nearly loses, and he's like this hyper-trained warrior who nearly loses to a bunch of country yokels because he's so drunk and out of it. And oh, Trevor. And that's your first introduction to him. Oh, Trevor. Anyway, so I went back. All of this is to say that I went back and I decided to watch Castlevania. That's the name of the show. And so season 1 is all about getting the gang together, but you keep switching back over to the bad guys and to Dracula and his court and how he's like waging this war on humanity, but it's all for the sake of his dead wife, and it's treated in such a sympathetic light. If you want a great breakdown of the themes of Castlevania, go check out Overly Sarcastic Podcast or Overly Sarcastic, the channel. They do a great breakdown of the tropes of Castlevania at one point. It's wonderful. And here I am only through season 2. The first season is getting the gang together, and it's this trio of Trevor Belmont, Alucard, who is, of course, Dracula's kid, who is half human, and so he's like, oh, he has some issues, but they're not anything like Trevor's issues. And then there's this mage who is both the only brain cell of the group, and she is also like the heart, because Trevor and Alucard love just like poking each other and finding all the little buttons they can and jabbing them with sticks. They're goodbye at the end of season 2. So, oh my god, I cannot remember what is the name of the mage. Her name is just vanishing from my head, and she's a great character. So at the end of season 2, they have found Dracula's castle. They have dragged Dracula's castle out from wherever it was to where they are so they can attack it. And Alucard, and there's this great, fantastic battle scene between Alucard and Dracula, and the other two were there too, but they're like, they can't keep up, and it's great. They're just like, oh, we have just
sent this giant fireball through the wall, and Alucard followed the giant fireball as it, like, targeted Dracula, and now they are somewhere else in the castle, and we're gonna take the stairs.
Because we are just measly little humans. And... oh, yes, it was fantastic. And then finally, they're like, Trevor and the mage are like, yeah, let's go and talk to your family. Let's go and... yeah, there was a giant attack on a major city. We have to go over there and see, like, if it needs to be cleaned up. We're gonna do, you know, we're gonna settle down. This is the end of the adventure. This is, like, epilogue stuff. And I know it's not actual epilogue stuff because this is the end of season, like, 2 out of 4 or something. But it is very much like, okay, this is the end of an age. This is an end of an epic. This is an end. If this was a game, because it's based on games, this is the end of game 1. The next game is a different game. So... and all this is a long way to say that Trevor is, like, up on the seat of the wagon going, yeah, bye, Alucard, have fun, restoring the castle, waves, a little bit sassy, but like, yeah, you're my friend, we're now on good terms. And Alucard is like standing next to the wagon, looks up at him, little bit of a smile, and he flips him the bird. and Trevor is just like, yeah, I hate you too, buddy. And that is so quintessentially they're oh, hello, we've got a follow from Pelican. Welcome. So that is so quintessentially their dynamic. I absolutely love it. And so now I finished season 2 of Castlevania. And I'm just... like, a part of me really wants to jump in straight into the next season because I know all these characters now, and I remember that one episode that I saw way back when, and what's gonna happen over there. I saw a little hints, but I didn't have the context, and now I have a little bit of the context, but I don't have the whole context. So, yeah. I need tea. Tea. Excuse me for just 1 minute. Tea is wonderful. So I decided to take a break between seasons and come play Pokemon, because I could see myself just racing through the rest of Castlevania, and it's already like close to midnight, which is not bad for me. Tomorrow's Sunday, I can sleep in, but also I should not stay up all night and all of tomorrow and all of everything just to watch Castlevania. I should savor it. So yeah. And then, like, all of this is happening at the same time that a bunch of podfic stuff is happening. So, if you don't know, I am a voice actor. I have produced over 50 audiobooks that can be found on audible.com. Some of them are great, some of them are only meh. But I didn't start out jumping straight into audiobooks. I started with podfics. And a podfic is an audiobook of a fan work. So there I am, years and years ago now. I at some point should look at my podiversary and figure out when that is. I think it's actually coming up. I think it was in the fall. So I create podfics of fanfics And I'm also a fanfic writer. Litra is my name pretty much everywhere, so if you want to go check me out on AO3, just, heed the tags. And currently, I'm a big, I have a couple of big fandoms that I hover around whenever I don't have a major fandom that I'm into at that particular moment. And right now I'm kind of in that boat. I don't have a major fandom that I'm, doing a deep dive into, so I'm doing some stuff for The Flash. I'm doing some stuff for Star Wars. Those are two of my stands. And so yesterday, but in the late hours of the night of Thursday to Friday, or in the early hours of the morning, it was one of those, I put out the newest chapter of a podfic that I've been working on for an age and a half. It's a super long story. It's a fantastic story, and I have been blessed. This story, it was practically written for me. It hit so many good notes for me. I actually was the one who prompted it. So there's this very, okay. I have to make sure that I say the name correctly, because there are a couple of things that I have been dealing with, there's a couple of different podfics that I've done, recently, and I need to make sure that I'm saying the right name with the right thing. So the Flash fanfic that I put up was written by Narajeski. And Narajeski is a wonderful author, has done stuff for many different fandoms, I found them because of The Flash, but they are also really big into the Untamed fandom, and there's a couple of others. So there's this absolutely wonderful story, and I prompted it years and years ago when they were just like, yeah, I'm not sure what I'm gonna write next. Somebody throw me a prompt, and I'll write a short story for it. I throw the prompt out. So Flash fandom, if you don't know, it's the TV show The Flash, not just the comics. Although Narajeski does pull things from the comics occasionally. Pairing is Barry Allen, main character, The Flash, / Leonard Snart, aka Captain Cold, aka the super villain who doesn't kill people and who has a very strict code and is times his heists down to the minute because he's so precise and he's so good that he can do that, and he's just perfect. He's wonderful. He's a wonderful character, and Narajeski writes him so well. And my prompt was, instead of having Captain Cold be a supervillain and be a bad guy, what if he was a cop? Because Barry Allen is a cop. He's a CSI, to be specific. So what if Leonard Snart instead... So, backstory on Leonard Snart, his dad was a corrupt cop. What if Leonard saw that his dad was corrupt and decided, no, he's going to be a cop and he's going to do it right, and he has a vendetta against bad cops, and he becomes a cop in internal affairs, and he's determined to root out all the corruption in the police department. And then Barry, at the start of the TV show, goes into a coma for 9 months because he was struck by lightning and he got superpowers. And after that, he's all running around, doing his superhero thing, but he doesn't tell the police. And so I'm like, hey, Narajeski, what if Len was actually a cop in internal affairs? And what if he Gina, what do you want? Oh, you want a battle? No. Okay, that was useless. So she's, yeah, I'm like, what if he's a cop in internal affairs? What if he notices Barry's odd hours and random absences and all of this suddenly disappearances, and what if he goes after Barry? And hey, if he's wrong, then he can spend some time with the hot lab tech. And I'm expecting... Oh, hello, we've got some people in the chat. That's novel. I was not talking about Resident Evil, Josh. I was talking about... before, I was talking about... Well, recently I've been talking about The Flash. Before that, Castlevania. That, I lost the word for a minute. I was talking about the Netflix show, Castlevania. Barry is from The Flash. He is from... Yeah, I was talking about a fanfic. And a podfic, specifically, that I am working on. So, yeah. Welcome! Yeah, in the meantime, I'm just grinding. So Barry and Len was... Where was I? Len was going to go after Barry, and I expected this to be a super short ficlet, maybe 1,000 words. And then Narajeski wrote me well, not wrote me, but took the plot idea, took the prompt that I gave them, and wrote 13,000 words of fanfic on it. And I was just like, oh my god, how can you do this? This is epic. This is a wonderful fanfic. And Narajeski just pulled in stuff from the Greater Flash universe and from bunches of stuff. And so I've been working, making a podfic of it over the course of several years. I have been slacking off this year. My goal was originally to put out at least one chapter a month. I haven't been doing that, but I've been doing better. So I released the newest chapter, which I think is chapter 14, on Friday, and we're getting into the meat of the story. So Len, who has been investigating Barry, now knows that Barry is the Flash. Mega Punch. You know, I'm never gonna use Transform. Alright, there we go. Let's see. Who else can I put up front? There we go. Let's put Winston up front. Yeah, so... Len now knows... Yes, Josh, this is a randomizer. I have randomized all of the wild Pokemon. I managed to catch a Mew back in not the Slowpoke cave, but the cave before Slowpoke, and I decided that each level of the cave was a different encounter. So I went down the stairs to the lower basement where, like, you can surf to get Lapras and all the stuff. Now, of course, I don't have surf yet because I haven't even fought Whitney. I'm just training up for Whitney right now. Yes, I have just started streaming in the past month. I haven't really set up my profile or anything. I'm really just doing this, like, I'm not attempting to do this for money or anything like that. So, welcome. You're one of the first people who has actually jumped into the chat. Normally I sit here and just talk to myself, which is why I was kind of rambling about Castlevania and The Flash when you jumped in. So, yeah. If you want to go and see what has happened in previous streams and how I got my full team, So far, let's go through the team. I've got my Aerodactyl, Mew, Sneasel, Typhlosion. Typhlosion was not my starter. I found Typhlosion in the Slowpoke Cave. No, I did not find him. Or did I? Yes, found him in the Slowpoke Cave. I could probably, look over here. It would probably tell me somewhere, but it doesn't matter. Steelix, and is that my last one? And Jellyfish. Yep, my Tentacool. Thank you. Frankly, I'm just getting started, and if anybody wants to talk, I'm free to. Yeah, I figure people who want to watch me will find me, and if people don't want to, if I'm not the kind of person that they want to watch, then they will find somebody else to watch. That's how things go. Yeah. So, like I said, the random Pokemon are randomized, but it's different for each route has a theme. So, like, if I was to go up north to the bug catching arena place, the national park, that's what it's called. That place is currently full of fire Pokemon. Ooh, I haven't done the bug catching contest. It's a Saturday. Oh wait, it's now a Sunday. It's after midnight. Did I miss the bug catching contest? I decided earlier on that the bug catching contest was gonna be a different encounter, and it's the last encounter in this area that I can get before I before I go after Whitney. I managed to miss, there's a bunch of fire Pokemon in the national park, and I was gonna catch a Growlithe, but then it used Roar. And then there's missed it. And then there's a bunch of electric Pokemon over here, and I ran into a Zapdos. And yes, I am doing, I don't have a regular schedule. Yeah, it's strictly Gen 2, so this is a crystal randomizer, so there's nothing beyond Gen 2 in here. Let's see. I don't have a regular schedule, and I am doing other games as well as this. My other game that I'm doing most often is Azure Dreams, which is a roguelite game that is also it's not a dating simulator, not in the way that, what's that new game that came out? Oh, you've played it? Then you know what it is. Yeah, so I've only gone into the tower 5 or 6 times, played that earlier today, but then I went and did a bunch of things around the house, and I was feeling like streaming again. So here I am, and I tried to did something else. I also have done a bunch of just random videos of games that I played as a kid, and thought, hey, this was a good game as a kid. Let's see if it's back. Let's see if it actually holds up over time. Most of them have. Zoombinis, Roller Coaster Tycoon. I have not actually streamed Roller Coaster Tycoon yet. Yeah, totally. I feel like if I make videos of these kind of games, so many people got hyped on Hades, and I absolutely love Hades, played through it, but it totally reminded me of Azure Dreams, and I'm like, okay, I played Azure Dreams as a kid. Does anybody remember Azure Dreams? Did anybody else have a chance to play that as a kid? And if you didn't, then here, let me introduce you to another thing that you may love. And so, Boyfriend Dungeon, that's the game that came out. The game with the... Oh my god, every time I have had to explain Boyfriend Dungeon to a friend, they have given me the side eye. Yes. people forget that games exist, and they, even games that are totally loved. Like, one of the games I plan on playing through at some point, or I have played through it many times, but I plan on streaming it, and it's not as retro as some of these other ones, but Portal. I was in college when Portal came out, and everybody jumped on it, everybody loved it, everybody was super hyped, and now I could mention Portal to any of my friends and they would know what I was talking about, but I doubt anybody's played it in recent times. And Winston, I need you to actually attack this thing and not die. Okay, that's fine. Yes, kill the Magnemite. Thank you. No! Kill it! So Portal is one of the games I plan to play. Roller Coaster Tycoon, I've been playing it off stream, and I've been trying to figure out how to bring it onto stream because it's a long one. And sometimes, like, it's one of those Sims games that sometimes I wish it had a fast forward button, because I'm sitting there going, okay, I need more people to come to my park, I need more people to jump on my rides, I need more money, and I'm sitting there for 5-10 minutes just waiting for the stats to roll over, and I think that would not be a very interesting stream, but there are a couple of different challenge modes where it's just like, build 20 roller coasters, and I think I could do that on a stream pretty interestingly. Let's go back to jellyfish. I'm also trying to find a bunch of the old, like, I know that, oh, yeah, I mean, when I play a lot of the newer games and older games, and particularly I've noticed in Pokemon, that there are some things like the box improvements. Absolutely love the box improvements between the different generations, but I was a Gen 2 kid. That's why I'm playing Crystal here. This is not actually my first, this is a Nuzlock, by the way. And it's not actually my first Nuzlock. It's my second attempt. My first attempt was also Pokemon Crystal. It's up on YouTube now. And it was fine until I ran into a Hitmonlee. And then the Hitmonlee took out my entire team. And that was, like, I had barely gotten the first badge, and so I was like, no, this is not good enough, and I started this second Nuzlocke. I had a point. What was my point? Right! Quality of life improvements. I'm a person who grinds. I'm a person who grinds Pokemon. I'm a person who, like, that's basically what this whole stream is, right? Like, I'm sitting here grinding up for the gym, and I'm having tons of fun with it. But, I took it to an extreme, especially as a kid. I would train Magikarps. I have a friend who went absolutely crazy and would buy the Magikarp in Gen 1 and then have a Gyarados before they fought Misty. But, like, train all through, what's that name of that cave called? Mount Moon? Yes, all through Mount Moon. I wasn't quite that crazy, but I would normally train in Diglett's Cave, and so I would have a Gyarados before the end of Diglett's Cave, or before, like, I fought Lieutenant Surge. Of course, you don't take a Gyarados into fighting Lieutenant Surge, but anyway. Then I played Sword and Shield, and I did not play a couple of gens before that, but I get a Magikarp, put him in the back of my team, thinking I'm going to do a bunch of switch training, and then I don't have to, and I'm just like, come on, guys, this was part of the game. This was part of the, I don't know. Yeah, emulations are interesting. I mean, I'm using an emulator for this, and it's not like you can do randomizers for the original, like, Game Boy games or anything, but it's still making Pokemon content and keeping the hype alive for Pokemon as a brand, so they are ultimately benefiting from it. I did own Pokemon Crystal as a kid. I did own Pokemon Yellow as a kid, and Pokemon... I think I bought Fire Red at one point. So I've owned many of the Pokemon games, so I have... Yeah, it's a tough argument. There are arguments on both sides. It's not like anybody is the Pokemon, like the people who own Pokemon are coming down on people who do these randomizers and stuff. So they have made a tacit approval. I think I'm with you on that. At least emulation and that is keeping these things alive. Because I, as a Gen 2 person, and most of my friends and stuff were either Gen 1 or Gen 2, and they either, like, I played Gen 3, but I've never played Gen 4 up until whatever Sword and Shield is. And there are such good games out there, and you'll see retro game things of, like, I don't know, Pac-Man or Mario or anything like that, but a lot of the more obscure games, the ones that aren't tied into either a franchise or something like that, they do get forgotten, and people put a lot of work into this stuff. I have a love of pixel art myself, and this is... Yeah, especially when games like... Okay, take Azure Dreams. Azure Dreams, I was lucky enough to own a copy of it as a kid. I bought it either secondhand or I got it as a present or something like that. But I know that it was an incredibly low run, especially like for the American release. There were only, like, the number of copies made was in the thousands, not the tens or hundreds of thousands, like some other things. And so a lot of people would have never heard of it. And it's the kind of game that tons of people might have loved if they had heard of it. And now, like, my brother tried to find a copy online a couple of years back now, maybe 5 years. Had to pay, like, $120 for it. That's not something that, like, a kid can go and get off a $2 off rack somewhere in a game console I can do words. I can totally do words. Yeah. Oh, ooh, I should pay attention to my, okay, thank goodness that was a scary face and not an actual attack. I need to bring Jelly to the Pokemon Center. I was never a yo-yo kid, unfortunately. I saw all of the, like, all of the advertisements and stuff, but I couldn't do any of the tricks. I would just fumble over it, and then the yo-yo would be at the end of the string, and I would be like, well, that didn't work. But I totally know what you're getting at there, because, like, you'd see the commercials, and you'd see these people with, like, trick yo-yos and stuff, and then you'd see other people who, like, have it's just a yo-yo. You can still do all the cool tricks, but it's just like a couple of pieces of wood and a string. This is a toy that has been around for an age and a half. Okay, let's see who I can put up front. Let's put Kaoru up front. I should give some people some berries. Oh, thank you. I mean, I feel like... okay, I sometimes stream with another person who is Tough Pancake, is their handle. And that's kind of how... self-heal for a burn. I don't really need that. Poison cure. But I've listened to enough streams and just put them on in the background that if somebody's not talking, if somebody's not being entertaining, I'm not looking at the screen the whole time. I am a very auditory person, so I feel like if I'm not talking, then it's not going to be interesting, I guess. Especially since this is just a grinding session. It'd be one thing if I was actually battling the gym leader or planning to battle the gym leader, then I could talk strategy, but I suck at strategy. My strategy is to grind. This may be a nuzlock, but I'm not doing any kind of level cap. I'm not doing any kind of, like, a hardcore, I can only do certain, like, only do certain movesets, only do up to the gym leader's maximum. And so if I'm going to be entertaining, if I'm going to put this on YouTube later, if anybody's going to show up like you, then I might as well make it interesting for them. Do I have any favorite games or ideal games that I enjoy playing? That's a tough one. I mean, I love games like Pokemon and all the retro games that I've been playing on my stream. I'm not really into roguelike. I mean, I like Azure Dreams. I like Hades. But those ones, I can get frustrated in them very quickly. I have played through... Oh, thank you for following. I guess I didn't realize. Cool. Like I said, I don't really have a schedule for when I'm playing a certain thing or when I'm playing, but most of the time I will try to, at the beginning, I'll do a short recap, and all the streams, I eventually do put them up on YouTube, so if there's something important, you can always ask me, or you can always throw something up, jump over there in case anything is big, if they're a big miss. I'm babbling now. Anyway, where was I doing? Favorite games, that's what I was talking about. Recently, I've been playing through The Witcher, all three of them, actually. I started The Witcher 3, realized you could import things from the previous games, and went, welp, I guess I have to buy the first two games then. So I played through Witcher 1 once, and I don't know if you've played it, but I went the route of allying with the elves and the resistance, and so I kind of want to do a stream where I choose everything else, where I ally with the what are they? The Templar? No, that's Dragon Age. I could ally with the Order of the Rose. I think they were the Order of the Rose. And use all of my pre-knowledge purposefully to choose everything else. I've also been getting into Dragon Age, and I've been trying to play Dragon Age 2, but I've never played Dragon Age 1, and so a part of me is like, I need to play Dragon Age 1 before I play Dragon Age 2. But I don't know. I have a Discord, like I'm on a couple of different Discord servers. I don't have my own Discord server. I am not set up for that yet, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, it's one of those things that if this turns into a thing where I stream regularly, if this turns into a thing where I get, like, I'm not even an associate or anything here on Twitch, but if it becomes a thing, and I have, like, things in the back of my mind for different types of videos I want to do, and if I do start getting a YouTube, and if I do start getting a real presence here on Twitch, then I probably would set up a Discord of my own. But the problem is that when I've joined other Discords, I have been really active for like 1 or 2 weeks, and then I will get distracted by something else entirely. And then it'll just be like the Discord doesn't exist, and I'll be like, oh, I completely forgot about the Discord for 2 weeks. Let's go see what happened over there. And so, like, I have a Twitter. I am at Litropod on Twitter. That's where I am. That's mostly where I hang out social media wise. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I tend to be a person who, like, I do a lot of audio work. I'm not sure if you were around when I said that I perform audiobooks. Have not put any audiobooks recently, but I have put out a bunch of podfics. So I am also Litra or Litterpod on AO3, and that's where all of my between Twitter and AO3, that is where I hang out more often. Oh, that's right. Speaking of AO3, Pod Together just came out. Pod Together is a fantastic program. Started back in the... Well, it's not a program. It's a challenge, an event. I think I'd call it an event. Yeah, no, it's audio work is something that I have put a lot of effort into, and I mean, okay, I can't sing. I don't have the training to do actual singing, like hit certain notes at certain times, but I can do tons of voices, like character voices. And between that and my editing skills from both here on video stuff and edit, like, the reason I thought I could jump into video and Twitch and all of that was because I already had a ton of experience editing audio. Oh, don't even get me started on cats. The reason my Mew is named Velvet in this game is because Velvet is my cat. And when I caught Velvet, she came over and she rubbed up against my leg, and then I caught the Mew. I was blessed by the cat. She gave me her official approval. It was a thing. So I obviously had to name the Mew Velvet after that. Yes. My cat is a Russian blue. She is normally very skittish, very like, what do you want? What do you want, Alan? Oh, you're giving me an item. That, I'll take that. So, so Josh, you won't know this. In the previous streams, I had my friend Tough Pancake in here, and I was trying to decide, that's not what I want. I should go to the Pokemon Center first. I was trying to decide my encounter here for this city. And I was like, one of the challenges I've set myself for this Pokemon Nuzlock is that I have to use as many Pokemon that I have not trained before in other games. So, of course, the Pokemon that are here are Eevee that you can get from Bill, or Dratini, or I can't remember the third one in... But the highest, that's not what I want. I want the bicycle. The game counter. The highest, the most expensive Pokemon in the game counter right now is a Wobbuffet. And Wobbuffet happens to be my friend Tough Pancake's one of their favorite Pokemon. And so they were like, or he was like, you need to get the Wobbuffet, you need to get the Wobbuffet. And so I have promised Tough Pancake I will use a Wobbuffet on my team, even though I do not like Wobbuffet. The problem is, because it's the most expensive thing in the game counter, I have now spent all of my money on game coins, and I still cannot afford it. So I have to use the thing to come, I believe it was you? Give me the Firestone. Yes, I don't have any Pokemon that will need a Firestone to evolve, but I can sell this. And I can get more money for the Wobbuffet. Probably won't get the Wobbuffet until after I fight Whitney. But it's an ongoing challenge. It's a thing that will happen. Oh, yes. Yes, but I was talking about my cat. My cat is Velvet. She is a Russian blue. She is timid. She doesn't like strangers. She doesn't like it when I pick her up. She doesn't like any of that stuff. She is a very independent cat. Ooh, I should give the Quick Claw to somebody. Every time I go through my bag, I'm like, I should give the Quick Claw to somebody, and I haven't yet. Let's do that now. Alright. Nope, there. Nope. There we go. Okay, who should I give the Quick Claw to? I need somebody who can use that little bit of... let's give him to Winston. Item. Give. There we go. So when she blessed me, when she actually came over and voluntarily, like, interacted with me, I knew it was a huge thing. And then I got my Mew, and all was right with the world. I swear, for the rest of that stream, I was just like, it's a Mew! And my voice was like 2 octaves higher. Oh. But I can't maintain that. Because of my voice training, I have actually trained my voice to go lower. I can do a very low, sonorous, sexy voice when I want. Actually, if you like that voice, go check out the Domino Lady. She's another one, a retro... I mean, she's a character rather than a video game, obviously. But another retro thing that has basically been forgotten. The Domino Lady was a character who came out in the era of, like, radio dramas and pulp fiction and all of that. She had crossovers with, like, the Phantom Detective and the Shadow from, like, Only the Shadow Knows, if you know that, like, tagline. She actually had crossovers with Batman, too. Doc Savage. Nobody ever remembers her. But early in my audio career, I was lucky enough. I auditioned to perform several audiobooks for the Domino Lady, and she is just such a wonderful character. So her whole deal is that she is a femme fatale in, like, Prohibition era Los Angeles. Her father was the district attorney, and her father was killed because he was trying to prosecute somebody who, he went after the wrong person, and they killed him for it. And then she became the Domino Lady. She puts on this long gown and a domino mask and a and a cape, a black cape over a white dress. And she uses her sexy wiles to sneak into people's like houses and people's whatever to steal information and then give it to the police, or steal just treasure. Sometimes she will go after riches and then she will give most of it to charity, but she also has to fund her extravagant lifestyle. So she's not quite a Batman character in the way that like Batman has a lot of gadgets and stuff, and she never, I mean, she has a few gadgets. I think she has like a special lockpick thing, and she has a, like, her mask is a special mask that, because she knows a lot of people in costuming in Hollywood, and so she it's also one of those things where, like, how could you possibly not know it's her? But I suppose there are a lot of tall, lanky blondes in Hollywood. And also in some of the stories, she's a character who is now in the public domain. So there have been a bunch of people who have written her. And actually her first dozen or so stories, nobody knows who wrote them. They were put out in a magazine under a pen name, and nobody knows who that pen name originally belonged to, or if the pen name was like something that multiple people used. So yeah, it was interesting, and it was a great like jumping off point for my audio career, to be honest. I mean, it was not many people know of her, but it was a great chance to really stretch my abilities at that time. Yeah. Now, feel free to ask as many questions as you like. Normally, I mean, I will just keep rambling if I don't see anything in the chat. So yeah. Favorite Pokemon? Kind of depends on the generation. I love Skarmory. As a kid, I would always, like, since I'm a Gen 2 person, I would get to that final route where you can finally catch Skarmory, and I would switch out whoever I had as my flyer and get a Skarmory instead. So I think that says a lot, because normally by the time you get to here in Whitney's gym and, you know, maybe the next gym, like, my team was pretty much set. I didn't switch out a lot of Pokemon after that point, but I'd always switch out for Skarmory. I also really do love Lugia. I am lucky. So I play Pokemon Go, and one of the first shinies I ever got, I was lucky enough to get a shiny Lugia, and I kept that thing as my buddy for an age. When I played Gen 3, I really liked Tropius, just as the idea of it. Let's get rid of Leer. The fact that, like, yes, it grows fruit, and it can fly, and it's a giant dinosaur. I know it's not, like, the best stats-wise, but I like Chikorita, but Chikorita as a starter is not the greatest. It's hard to play with Chikorita since you don't really get any good, like, if you've played Gen 2, you know about Chikorita. It's a great Pokemon, but it's not great to play in Gen 2. But Tropius had the same kind of basic design to it, without the disadvantage, and it was also just hard enough to get that it seemed special, without being so hard to get that it was annoying. Like, a couple of Pokemon, especially in Gen 3, I noticed it most in Gen 3, there were a bunch of Pokemon that were hard to get, and they didn't seem to have a purpose. Like, Love Disc. I always, like, I would go down and I'd get a love disc, and then I'd be like, okay, so what am I supposed to do with you? Nothing? Great. Go in the box. And there were a couple of Pokemon here in Gen 2 that did the same thing. Shuckle. Never understood what Shuckle was about. Didn't really like the design. Didn't really, jive with it as a Pokemon, I guess. And then there's, what's that little yellow thing that is normally in the cave there? I'll remember it later. There's another Pokemon here in Gen 2 that you can get in one of the early caves, but it's rare enough that it doesn't automatically spawn, and it's one of the ones that doesn't have an evolution, and I'm just like, what am I supposed to do with you? Go in the box. Go in the box and stay there. I'm a flying type trainer. Not Sunkern. Sunkern, I thought Sunkern was cute. Don't really like Sunflora's design. It's like a maggot Pokemon. It has little wings on it, which always confused me. Like, why give a maggot Pokemon wings? How did you evolve wings when you live in a cave and are literally blind? Of course, that would be giving logic to Pokemon, and we don't do that. Logic in a Pokemon world just does not, no. It does not compute. Pokemon runs on its own version of logic, and we can try and make sense of it, but yeah. Let's see. Who else needs a bit of training? I can stick with Jelly for now. But if I was a trainer in actual Pokemon, I would be a flying type trainer. Not only because of the legendary birds. Yes, Dunsparce, that's the name of it. Never understood Dunsparce. It's on my list of top 5 most useless Pokemon. So yeah, I would be a flying trainer. Love all the legendary birds. Love both Lugia and Ho-Oh. But also, I think that flying types have a lot of variety. Like, I've got my Winstone, my, oh my god. Now I can remember his nickname, but not his Aerodactyl. Yes, he's an Aerodactyl. So you've got flying and rock there. You've got, there are a couple of more flying rock fossil types, but they're from generations that I don't really know about or didn't play. I know that, like, when I was playing Heart Gold, and I was really sad that it was a Heart Gold exclusive, but Mantine, love Mantine. Love Gyarados, but see, okay, being a Gen 2, I have a thing with Gyarados. I like training up Magikarp. I like training it up to be a Gyarados on my own. But then, by the time I got to the Lake of Rage and got the shiny, like, it made it less special in a way. I know it was supposed to be, a special thing, but the fact that it was a shiny, and the shiny they just handed you as well. And then it's like a level, 40? Is it level 30 or level 40? I can't remember what level it's at. But it's at one of those levels, and I normally went across the ocean and to the left and the lighthouse and all that first, before I went to the right and went through the Lake of Rage and all that. Or that's the route I always took as a kid. So, by the time I actually got to the Gyarados as a kid, it was always just like, oh, hi. You're a great Gyarados, but my Gyarados is better because I've been training it up since it was a Magikarp. And, well, so I do really like Gyarados, but it's one of those ones that I like training it up myself. I was actually considering doing a flying type, like a type lock video after this one for pure flying type, and I was going to do that as a, like, probably a Heart Gold or Soul Silver so I could get the later Pokemon, but also, like, still Gen 2, because there are several Pokemon early on. Like, you can get a Hoot Hoot, you can get a Spearow, you can get a Natu, you can get... And you can get enough Pokemon, and then if you switch in either... Not Torchic, because Torchic isn't actually a flying type, despite the fact that it's a chicken. Oh, you're diving into the hard questions. I am not interested in politics. That's not something I'm going to be discussing on the channel. I am generally more left-wing than right-wing, but like I said, I'm not going to be discussing... There are enough crazy politics stuff out on the internet if you want that kind of thing. So this is a politic-free zone. Let's see. What are my thoughts on religion? I am not religious, but I am spiritual. I believe that there is something bigger out there, that there is something with a purpose. I do not presume to know what that is. Whether there is only one God, whether there are multiple gods, whether there is how to worship that God or gods or whatever. I think it comes down to intent and, like, whether you're trying to do good, whether you're even thinking about doing good. It's something that I think is a very personal journey for each person. I haven't put my hat in any one ring there. Let's see. What are my thoughts on LGBTQ+. So I am aromantic. So there are a couple of videos I've done so far which are dating sims, and I tend to play them in a very aromantic flavor, because I'm like, okay, here's what I know the romantic person would do, and here's how I think this has either succeeded or failed, because it's either getting to me as a non-romantic person, or it's not getting to me because this is a shortcut and you're using the shortcut rather than actually showing the emotional connection. And in a dating sim, that's important, whether you're willing to do the shortcuts or all that stuff. Everybody is welcome here, LGBTQ+, all of that stuff. When I am streaming with my co-host, Tough Pancake. Pancake is trans man. He is great. So everybody's welcome in that regard. I'm not going to throw anybody of any flavor under the bus, no matter what label they choose to or choose not to use. I will throw out that I will use the word queer in the more in the older sense of the word, like the queer community, or like I think that's a word that we have reclaimed. Some people I know are not cool with that word, but that's a word that I will use occasionally. Fandoms and fan bases. Weebs, otakus, furries. I am a fandom person, but I'm mostly on the fandom, like, fanfic, podfic, side of things. I have gone to several different cons and met people at cons. Let's see. Are there any names I can drop? I mean, I suppose I could drop a couple of names, but I don't feel like meeting somebody in a line to take a picture or, are you actually gonna, Helen, why are you calling me? Okay, go away. Really counts as meeting somebody. So, and I tend to be very much separate the actor from the product. I'm not into sending things to actors or trying to converse with actors. And then, like, half the time, it's animated stuff, and I actually prefer to interact with animators or voice actors, since they get a lot less attention, and also they put in so much work, and they do so much good stuff, and nobody ever notices them. So, shout out to all the great animators and great voice actors and stuff, and also, like, story-wise, so many times people will ask actors about story questions, and there's just no point to that because they don't have much of a say. So I guess that's a rundown of some basic views. Yeah, no, it's fine. As I said, I am totally willing to answer questions. Thanks for asking, I guess. I will, if I'm not comfortable answering a question, I will say so. How long have I been streaming? Oh, wow, it's already been close to an hour and a half of a stream. Oh. Well, I have been... Let's get my mouse out of the way there. Okay, I'm probably gonna play for another 15 minutes-ish and then start closing it down. I'm not sure what time zone you are in, but I am in the Pacific Northwest. Yep. I tend to do longer streams that do tend to do... Oh, we're in the same time zone then. Yay! So I will stream late into the night. I am a night person. I'm definitely a night owl more than a morning person. And so I do stream at night, but I try not to stream till like 2 a.m. because I need to preserve some semblance of a sleep schedule. And also, I can only go so long before my voice starts to give out. Unfortunately, I've done the training, but even so, your voice is a muscle. It can get strained. When I'm doing my Azure Dream streams, I tend to break between trips into the tower. But Pokemon doesn't have a natural ending point like that, so... Drinking water. That's the key. My tea went cold. Now it is iced tea. All right. Well, I think I've made some decent progress. This has been a fun stream. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for hanging out with me. Let's see, I started out with everybody around level 18. Now everybody's around level 22. 21, 22? Yeah? Yeah. Well, I still need to get Winston and Kyoya up a little bit. That's fine. That's fine. Still, I am in a much better place to challenge the gym. Oh, if only I had a fighting type. But that's what happens when you run into randomizers. Oh, let's see. Hobbies and interests. I have a lot of hobbies and interests. Let's see. So, obviously my current thing is streaming and vintage games. But before that, I was working on... I have a 3D printer So I've been working on trying to build a bunch of models, specifically like spaceships from like Star Wars and from Star Trek, Firefly, all that kind of thing. I want to build an epic diorama on my ceiling. I am lucky enough to have like 10 or 12 foot ceilings. And I want to build a bunch of model ships and put little LED lights in them and string them from the ceiling so that I can flip a switch and have them like light up and do a laser battle on my ceiling. That is a project that I want to do. I'm also really into sewing, not so much into cosplay as just into like more reenactment than cosplay, I think. I have done some of the, what is it? HACH? Society for Creative Anachronism. SCA. I have done some SCA. Obviously, this was before COVID. I was just getting started, and then COVID hit, and I was like, well, that's not going to be a thing for a while. So I have some vintage costume patterns that I have sitting around somewhere. I make a lot of cloaks. I love making cloaks. I have a couple of short cloaks that I really need to put up on Etsy. Because I tend to make things, especially cloaks and other sewing things, wear them once and then go, well, on to the next project, which is great for things like Halloween costumes, but it also means that half of my closet is full of cloaks. Let's see. What other things? I tried to get into gardening back in the spring. I did not succeed overly well. I'm a programmer by trade during the day. That's my day job. So, web programming and database. So I tend to... I'm interested in making apps, and I would love to figure out how people make their own Pokemon games and stuff, but I don't think I could make any Fakemon. I'd have to, like, design a story. Because I do stories. I write fan fiction. I record podfics of fan fiction. That's something that recently happened. Pod Together is a fandom challenge that takes, pairs up fanfic writers and fanfic audiobook creators, aka podfickers. Hey, don't fall asleep on me, Kyoya. I'm not being that boring. And so that the fanfic creator can write something specifically for audio. Which, in this era where there are so many great, like, podcasts out there, I'm specifically thinking of, like, the Magnus Archives and Welcome to Night Vale, and, I mean, those are both kind of horror-ish, but there are tons of others that are all different flavors, and I just love it. And the way that people can manipulate audio as a medium, it's so wonderful. I love that we're having this renaissance, since the last time this happened was in the vintage age of radio. Yeah. You had other questions. Let's see. Comic books, yes. So DC was my first fandom. Specifically, the Batman animated series and Batman Beyond. Those were the first fandoms I actually interacted with. So Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis is very close to my heart. Currently, I love The Flash. I love that he is less of a serious superhero than a lot of the others. I like the Justice... excuse me. I like the Justice Society. Everybody from Stargirl, the vintage Green Lantern, Alan Scott, Flash, Garrick, that was his name. And and Power Girl and Dr. Fate, and so there are a lot of superhero characters and books that are less obvious that I like, and I tend to read things in the trades. I don't have any idea what's coming out currently, but I cannot count the number of times I've reread 52 or reread Jeff Johns' run on the JSA. Let's see, who else? Jaime Reyes' run of Blue Beetle, fantastic. On the Marvel side of things, there were some really good comic book runs for Hawkeye. I'm remembering specifically a couple of issues where they played around with the fact that he was deaf by showing him signing, and they drew out each of the signs, like in different panels, or there was another one that was entirely from his dog's point of view. And the dog was like, ooh, thought bubble of pizza, thought bubble of couch, thought bubble of bad guy, and his dog had a whole adventure in that one issue. Yes, it was good. Let's see. Between new, old, 8-bit, 16-bit, 3D, which do you prefer? Ooh, that's tough. See, I love the old 8-bit games and 16-bit when the goal is like a puzzle. When, like, Tetris, the old classic Tetris, I cannot count the number of hours I put into Tetris as a kid. I cannot count the number of hours that I put, like, anything from Pac-Man, from, like, those kind of classic puzzle games that just slowly ramp up. Love them. But then you get into games with a story. And, like, games like this is still pixel. It's not 3D, but it does definitely have a story. And then you jump into something completely modern, or semi-modern at least, like Zelda Breath of the Wild. And if you compare Zelda Breath of the Wild to the first Zelda game I played, which was Zelda Hero of Time, or Ocarina of Time, and both of those are 3D, but going back and playing Ocarina of Time, you can tell that the technology has advanced so much, and I think you can still do a lot with it. Like, some of the Final Fantasy games have the same thing. You play the modern Final Fantasies, and it's like, okay, this is a grand story, and all of the Final Fantasies have been grand old stories, and you go back, and you can still do stuff with the older story. So I guess what I'm saying is, it depends on the story you want to tell. And I think that there are some games that play better in a 2D format. Like, okay, here's a good example. Plants vs. Zombies. I do not believe that you could do that in a 3D animated thing. It would not play as well in a 3D as it does in the classic 2D kind of thing. Oh, nice. Music for video games and video, like, it's so important. I went into this in a previous stream, but, like, so many people look at a video and they pay attention to the visuals first, which is, like, it's a video. You gotta pay attention to the visuals. But if you just have a raw video without any audio stuff, people will get bored. People will look away. It doesn't matter how fast or great your story is. It's the same reason why in the old silent movie days they'd have somebody on a piano going dun da 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 on the piano, because we are people, we are creatures with multiple senses. And if you don't play to multiple senses, then it's a thing. Then it's a thing. Then it's less entertaining of a thing. All right. But I have been talking here for way too long, and all right, yep, it's all right. I'm gonna cut this off before I dive into another ramble. I will be back tomorrow. I don't know what time tomorrow, but I know I have the whole day free, so I will probably be playing something or other. This will be the last Pokemon of the day. Let's go ahead and save. All right. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me, Josh. Thank you to everybody in the future who watches this video on whatever platform it is on. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you all have a great time in whatever time and space you exist in. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!